These two problems here, they are two types of multiplication problems we often do. Now, in the first example, we have one pair of parentheses, and inside the parentheses, we have plus. And the number outside the parentheses is 3, and the operation is multiplication. So we are familiar with this type of question. We have been using the distributive property to get rid of the parentheses. So what we do is we're going to distribute 3 to everything inside. So we're going to get a 3 times A and 3 times B. Of course, that's just going to be the multiplication sign, the dot can be omitted. So we could just write it as 3A plus 3B, and that is the answer. And so the property we used here is called distributive property. So whatever outside the parentheses or the box can be must be distributed to everything inside. So if we have more than A plus B, maybe we have a minus C, we will also have to distribute 3 to that, and every term inside the parentheses. Now, when we look at the second type, and notice that we have two pairs of parentheses. And the second pair of parentheses have exactly the same thing as type 1. So we have A plus B and A plus B here. But we also have another pair of parentheses, 3 plus C. And the difference is here between this example and the first one we did is we have this extra plus C right here, which we didn't have there. So we still going to apply the distributive property, but we will have to distribute both, because notice in front of the second pair of parentheses, or again, think of it as a box, we have another box. And the rule is everything inside the box needs to be, the first box needs to be distributed to the second box. So everything inside the second box. So first we need to distribute 3. So we're going to pretend that we don't have plus C here. So we're going to just do 3 times A, 3 times B, like we did in the first example. But after we distributed the first item, and we are going to distribute the second item in the first box, which is C. So we're going to distribute C to A and C to B. So that's what we got. And when you distribute C, so because we already distributed 3, so you can ignore 3 there, just distributing C. After we finish distributing both 3 and C, now we can look at the final answer. And again, those dots can be omitted. So if we put them closer together, it's 3A plus 3B plus CA plus CB. And notice that none of these are like terms, so you will just have to stop there. And this second example is applying the distributive property 2 times. As you can see, we distribute 3, the first distribution. This is the first distribution. We distributed 3. And then the second distribution, we distributed C. And we have another way to call this these two distributions together. It's called FoIL. F means first. And because if you look at the answer, 3 times A, inside the first pair of parentheses, 3 is the first. So in the first box, 3 is the first. The second box, A is the first. So we're doing first times first. First times first. So that's the letter, what the letter F stands for. And then O means outside. So as you can see inside of the first box, and you can consider 3 as the outside. And if you look at that, maybe 2 boxes together, so O is and 3 is outside, B is also outside. So we're doing 3 times B. So this is the outside times the outside. And then I means inside. So we have the inside times inside. So notice 3 and B, they're outside sides. They're both in the outside, and the C and A, they're inside. So we have the inside times the inside, which is C times A. And finally, L means last, because in each pair of parentheses, or box, and as you can see that C is the 3 is the first, and that means C is the last. A is the first, and B is the last. So finally, we multiply last and last, which is 3 times B. So that's why we call this FoIL. But even if you don't know FoIL, and if you're familiar with the rule of FoIL, you can stick to that. But if you have not heard of it and you are confused about this, you would just use the remember FoIL is literally just using the distribution rule twice. So distribute a 3, get 3A, 3B, and then distribute C, get a CA and a CB, and put them together. And the basic rule for multiplying bunch of boxes, bunch of princes, is every term inside each pair of princes has to multiply everything else. And this can also be modeled as like a handshaking activity. So if you think of 3 and C as 2 people from the first group and A and B as 2 people from the second group, and the rule is everybody from the first group must shake hands with everybody in the second group. So first person 3 has to shake hands with A and has to shake hands with B. But when we say shake hands, we mean multiplication. So 3A and 3B. And then the second person from the group, C, has to shake hands with A and B. So you get C and CB. But whatever way you like, whether using FoIL or distribution twice, and you will get the same answer. So you just have to make sure everything in each box is multiplied with everything in the second box. Now let's look at these two examples. So I use the two items we call them mathematically, we call them terms. I use the two different colors. And so in the first box, we have X and 3. So what we need to do is we can distribute the red 3 first to everything in the second box. So we're going to do X times X and X times minus 3. And after that, we are going to distribute the blue 3 to everything in the second box. So we got 3x and 3 times negative 5. X times negative 5 here, sorry. So as you can see, x times x to get the first one, x times negative 5, second one, and 3 times x and 3 times negative 5. Okay, so now we are going to simplify each of them. X times x gives us x squared, and so this will become x squared. And these two, because one of them is a number, the other is a variable, we cannot multiply them, so we're just going to put them together. But usually we like to put numbers in front of the variable, so we don't think it's x minus 5. So we will have negative 5x, which means negative 5 times x. If we don't put negative 5 in front of it, you will have to keep the parentheses, because otherwise, if you don't have parentheses, that's x minus 5. But it would be easier if we put a minus 5 in front of x, then we don't need a parenthesis, and it's just going to mean negative 5 times x. Now 3 times x, the dot can be omitted, and finally 3 times negative 5, that gives us negative 15. So after we simplified each of these, now let's see if we have any like terms to combine. And notice that negative 5x and plus 3x, they both are x terms, so we can combine them to get negative 2x, because negative 5 plus negative 3 plus 3, positive 3, we have $5 debt and $3 credit. So we're still in debt because we have larger debt. And then 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay, so now the second example will be very similar. So first we're going to distribute that red n to everything in the second box. So we got n times n times negative 8. And next we got these two, and next we're going to distribute that blue negative 4. So we have negative 4 times n, and then negative 4 times negative 8 to get these two. Now, after we finish distributing and we simplify, n times n is n squared. N times -8, again, we move -8 and put it in front of n. And -4n, you can get rid of the dot. And -4 times -8 is positive 32. So now we combine like terms, and we finish the multiplication. We're going to do addition and subtraction. These two are like terms. So -8 minus 4 gives us -12 and n. And again, -8 minus 4, we can think of it as -8 plus -4, $8 debt plus $4 debt gives us $12 debt.